It's starting this is weird because I can't see you guys. I don't know if Jeff's gonna like start talking at any moment, but
Just I'm always ready to start
I'll have a
talking.
webcam for next time.
Yeah, we'll put you where you normally
like
sit.
right there, I was about to start the podcast and Jeff started talking.
Just hey, count that shit down. Just go 3, 2.
Yeah,
I
probably just give
fuck.
us. Yeah, he did. Just like give us a
All right,
countdown so we know you're.
I will count this shit down. You guys shut the fuck up.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, welcome back to the Radio Podcast. My name's Devin. I'm joined by Austin
Hello.
and Jeff.
Hello.
And this week we've got multiple races to talk about. But first, since Jeff and I were gone last week, Austria, Formula One.
I'm really bummed out that you weren't here for that race.
It was an
I-
exciting race.
Yeah, boy, like, not gonna go over the entire race again, but just what a fucking weekend from Max Verstappen.
What a
Like-
week for you to be gone.
Yeah, that what a great performance from him. Just like I kind of thought it was fucked at the beginning. So he's like, oh yeah, starting P2, and then he was down to like
Yep.
P7 after a bad start, and fighting all the way back up to win it.
It was a great weekend for Formula One fans in general. Like that's exactly the race that the fan base needed following or to follow the last two races that were
Yeah.
sort of very boring.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very good, and Daniel and I did not do it justice. So, yeah.
Well, neither will we.
and
Also, I want to note before you start getting into the races, we're recording remotely now. So if there's like some weird hesitations or whatever, we apologize, but it's over Skype. So
You're ruining the magic.
I know, but I'm just
Don't show them what's under the curtain.
I always show people what's under the curtain.
You whore.
I'm in New York City.
Yeah, there's no picante sauce there.
I've not looked because who would eat that?
Me.
Me.
You get some tortilla chips with a hint of lime. Good.
It's sounds really good.
It is really good. Sometimes I have that for dinner.
Sometimes the lime chips have milk in them for some reason, though.
Milk limes.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, think about your lime chips having milk in them, and do you still want
Yes.
them? Okay, well.
Guess they still taste good, and that's all I care about.
Before I get into these other two races, though, there's a bit of Formula One news in that McLaren has announced their 2020 lineup of Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz.
Hell yeah.
It's working pretty well for them
Yeah.
this season. Well, as of the last two races, especially the last two races. it's
I think
working
they're
pretty well
both
for 'em.
really well rounded.
Yeah, they
good
both seem well
drivers.
suited to the car and the team.
Yeah. Like McLaren's doing phenomenal this year. Like, why fuck that up by trying to change it up?
Yeah, they're in fourth currently by
Yeah.
20 points over Renault.
Yeah, I think locking it in this early shows like that the team has pretty great confidence in both of those dudes, and even more so, those two dudes have confidence in McLaren to like keep improving and aren't like waiting to sign contracts till like what if Gasly's seat opens up? Like
Right.
Carlos Sainz Jr. could maybe end up back there, but
Yeah, it seems like the drivers have expectations for the team to continue on the trend that they are.
This past week also, like, there's been a lot of calls for like Gasly to lose his seat. And,
Well, when you get lapped by the same car, it's going to do that.
but like Helmut Marko and Christian Horner have both like doubled down as like, no, he doesn't have to worry about his seat.
Which means that he really needs to unfuck himself or he's going to have to worry about his seat.
Yeah.
Because if the team is coming out and be like, no, like, we just got to, I think Horner literally said Control Alt Delete Gasly.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
He sure did.
And so if the team is coming out there and trying to save face for you, and you don't redeem that, then like you're probably not doing great.
Yeah. Also, I've been seeing quite a bit of stuff, and even like Yahoo Sports and stuff had a couple articles on it. Daniel Ricciardo rumored to be a Ferrari replacement for Sebastian Vettel.
What?
Like in
When?
case Sebastian Vettel retires at the end of the season, because he's made a couple comments in regards to it,
Oh, has he?
and so I guess these are like credible, like rumors for bigger publications to report on them.
I don't know. I don't really see Vettel retiring just yet either. Like, I feel like he wants at least one Ferrari championship.
Maybe.
So is he just going to race until he's 80? Nice.
Yeah.
Boom, roasted, got him.
I mean, not really him, it's more the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see many drivers really moving around this year, except for, like, I expect Grosjean and or Magnussen to lose their seat. I expect Grosjean for sure, maybe Magnussen. Probably not both.
Botas for surezies.
What?
You think so?
I'm not going to do that again because he'll win the next 3 races.
So
Yeah,
here's
dude's had like 2 slightly less than good races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
That's it. He's been doing
the car
fine.
itself is a big problem this year. Wait, sorry, we're talking about Haas still, right?
No.
Oh, what are
No.
we talking about?
We're
Oh,
talking about
Botas.
Mercedes, and the car's not a problem. Like,
no, the car's not a problem.
they've
Sorry.
lost 1 race.
You said Botas, and I thought I just heard the end of it, and I just heard Haas. No, I don't think
Yeah.
Botas is going anywhere.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
You're too hard on Botas.
I am. He's like a stepchild. Like, he can never actually meet my expectations.
Driver solidly in second place doesn't meet Austin's expectations.
He's not Lewis Hamilton, so...
Who is one or finished second in
Hey, I want
every
to go
race
off
but
on a
like
weird thing
2
about
or
Lewis
3.
Hamilton while we're still talking about F1. You know he sold his candy apple red Ballertown jet?
It was technically a lease.
Oh no!
Mm,
Did he get
It's
another
a
one?
weird, complicated thing where, like, technically McLaren owned that jet.
No, it was a jet
What?
company that owned it, and it was a lease, and it was like a sponsorship thing. Is the technical thing of it. In reality, it was probably Lewis bought a jet through a shell company that he had to avoid paying tax
Yes.
on it,
'Cause he
which
did-
is legal to do. It's just
It's gray.
it's very gray. And because of all the stuff that came out about tax stuff semi recently, he was like, I should probably just not do that for a while. And now he just uses a white one sometimes.
Neat.
Like, I don't think it materially impacted anything. It may have even saved him some money somehow. I don't know.
I don't know. He probably came out ahead some fucking how. But
That's how it works when you're rich. You come out ahead.
that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's an F1 thing. Jeff, do you want to talk about Fantasy GP?
We can talk about Fantasy GP.
Since we're on the topic of Formula One?
Am
No.
I winning?
You were not.
Uh,
But Devin, can you pull up Fantasy GP on your phone and go to just the world and let me know how you are in standings there? Because I'm going to tell you that I'm in rank 623 out of the whole fucking world. Fuck all your dreams, everybody.
I'm not that far behind. I'm ranked 768.
Shut up, number 2. You're the Botas of this. Just be disappointed in yourself.
Listen, I'm happy to be the Botas of this season in Fantasy GP so long as you win it.
Replace you next season.
But also, I closed up that fucking gap this week.
You
so
did a little bit. I'm only
kiss
15
my
points
ass.
ahead of you.
I'm 2677.
Ooh.
I went up 347 spots this
Yeah,
weekend,
but
though.
you're still P9 in our league. So,
Tied for P8, aren't I?
actually, no, you're not tied for P8, but you're really
Damn
close
it.
to P8. Jeff, run it down.
I went to the world because I wanted to know how many places I went up this weekend. And where am I? I went up 224. All right, radio podcast. All right, in 10th place we've got Rally Sideways with 1,101 points. Ninth place we've got Devin with 1,132 points. In 8th, we've got 10 tenths Adam Nielsen with 1136. In 7th, we've got the Superfan Daniel with 1170. In 6th place, we've got Robbie Vierhout, also from 10 tenths with 1184. In 5th, we've got Jake from Racers HQ with 1203. In 4th, we've got John with 1213. In 3rd, we've got Zachary Carroll with Eyes Up Auto Art with 1237. And in 2nd place, we have Austin with 1257. And leading your championship, and it's going to be very sad for me whenever I don't win this in the end because I'm talking myself up quite substantially right now. Me with a very commanding lead of 1,272
I'm closing
points,
that commanding lead.
which is a staggering 15 points ahead of Austin. I don't know how he'll ever overcome that gap. Don't forget to make your predictions today, because today is the last day that you could do it when this comes out. Don't
Oh
forget.
yeah, I'm catching up. I'm gonna make it.
You might squeeze by Adam Nielsen this week.
I'm gonna finish in the top 5. That's my prediction for the end of the season. I don't think I can win at this point. After the rocky
Yeah,
start
Austin
I had.
either. Can you imagine?
Shit. Yeah, it's fun. Like Daniel and I were talking about our predictions and stuff when we were on our way to Hallett last weekend, and like we both like screwed the pooch on that. I think my team saved me more than anything else.
So I picked Leclerc for a pole, and whenever Sebastian stopped for softs, I was like, yes, he stopped for softs. I have Sebastian for fastest lap. And I was like, oh, wait, no, do I have Verstappen? And then I was sad because I thought I had Verstappen for fastest lap and Vettel was on softs. I was like, oh, shit. And then Verstappen held on to it, and then it turns out I had Vettel for fastest lap in the end anyway. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, I was like changing my predictions as we were going down the road. Like, oh, is it going to be Hamilton or is it going to be Leclerc on pole? Like, fuck.
Yeah, I got my second and third place podium right. I got my safety car wrong. I got my bonus prediction right of 1 penalty.
Yeah,
Thanks.
most of my predictions were wrong.
Thanks, Haas. But Austin scored the most points that weekend.
Hell yeah, I did. Thanks, my team.
You scored the most points, and so did Jake. Maybe. Hang on.
Go me.
Stand by. Sorry, John. I got the first letter right. You both scored the most.
How did I do? Was I like second?
No.
You
This is taking a long time and not making me feel good.
you scored the 8th most, which makes sense since
That makes sense because I'm the 8th best person on.
you're the
in
9th
league.
best, but
That's how you move
Shush.
up, though, is you just do one better.
it's true.
One more better.
Except for this time, he didn't because he was tied and now he's not. He was tied for 8th and now he's 9th.
Well, I was talking to Adam, and he's worried about it, so...
He should be. He's
You
in
got him
8th.
on the run,
Should
Devin.
be.
He texted me, I think it was yesterday, like, thinking that he forgot to put his predictions in for this past weekend. It's like, no, dude, you're good. But speaking of getting your predictions in, Jeff, tell me about Formula One this weekend.
Oh, we're going to do that now? Okay. Formula One, this weekend, we are at the historic Silverstone Racing Circuit in England.
What town in England?
It is in, oh my God,
It's Great Britain.
Northamptonshire, and also partly in Buckinghamshire. That's a long name. Buckinghamshire does not flow very well.
Especially when you pronounce it
How do
like
you
that.
pronounce Buckinghamshire?
That one is like that.
It has a seating capacity of 150,000 people.
Neat.
It is the longest running circuit in the F1
Historic.
calendar.
I don't think that's true.
I think it has the most races at it. Is that right?
That is not true.
It's
It's third.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost positive. Monaco and Monza are both above it.
Maybe
I'm
it was
pretty sure.
It's something. It has something about
Wasn't
it.
the first F1 race there?
Maybe that's it.
I think that's what's actually it.
Here's some almost facts from you. Radio
Almost
podcast.
facts.
Staying on brand over here.
2017 has a lap record of 1 minute 30.621 held by Lewis Hamilton. The current track configuration has only been in existence since 2011. It is a clockwise circuit, like so many other. This circuit used to be a airfield during World War II, so it's got a lot of historic turns in it that used to be part of like runways and things like that. So it's a very cool circuit. All the drivers and all the teams really like it. Lots of high-speed corners. So expect Mercedes and Ferrari to probably do pretty well here. Ferrari, here's my prediction. Ferrari's going to do better than Mercedes on single lap pace here.
You think so?
Yes.
I mean, they look
Or
fast.
is this a diversion to secure my lead? I'll let you decide.
Jeff out here trying to secure
Playing
P1
mind
by
games in
misleading our
Fantasy GP.
listeners.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's F1. What time?
That I was not prepared for.
You got to give us Eastern and Central time now.
Race times this weekend.
Central and Eastern times now,
Fuck
please.
Devin, he can figure it out himself.
Yeah, actually, I was more concerned with like me having to now check Jeff's.
You just
Numbers
add
being right.
one or subtract one, whichever way that you're trying to figure it out.
sub-
I'm not going to tell you about free practice 1 or 2 because those are over by now. Free practice 3 is tomorrow, Saturday, July the 13th at 5 a.m. Central Time. Qualifying is Saturday, July the 13th at 8 a.m. Central Time, and the race is Sunday, July the 14th at 8 a.m. Central Time. 8:10 a.m. Central Time.
That's like 9 a.m. in New York City.
That's a little past 9 a.m. in New York City.
It's true. It's a concrete jungle where dreams are made
Not
of.
my dreams.
It is a 52-lap race. The first Grand Prix was in 1950.
Neat.
And the circuit is 5.891 kilometers long.
That's a good track. I really like it in simulators.
I do too. It has a corner called Maggots and Beckett's. It's a series of corners. And it also has a hanger straight, and that's cool.
Bridge corner, man. You got to take it flat.
Yeah, and they can now, actually.
Hell yeah.
And then some.
I think that's all we got for F1 this week.
Speaking of July 13th and 14th, Formula E is happening on both of those days also.
Where are we at?
In New York
Oh, are
City.
you going?
I'm
Neat.
going.
What time are those races?
Don't worry about it.
So you don't know. You're unprepared is what you're telling me.
I think they're at like 5 p.m.
Okay. I was
both
just
days.
curious as whether or not they were going to like interfere with your Formula One watching, because I know you're definitely going to watch it live now that you don't have to wake up an hour earlier.
Yeah, now I don't have to wake up till 9 o'clock. That's
Yeah.
easy. That's easy. But before New York for Formula E, there's one more race that we haven't talked about yet in the Formula E calendar, which was Switzerland, which was, I want to say, like 3 weeks ago
I think
now.
I heard some things about this race.
Oh, I think I did too.
You probably heard some things about
Fuck, I
this
forgot we
race.
haven't gone over this race yet.
Specifically, like some things that happened towards the start, right? Yeah.
Yep. So this is round 11 of 13. The last 2 rounds are both in New York this weekend, as I just said. On pole, again, Jean-Eric Verne, P2 Mitch Evans, P3 Sebastian Buemi. Verline starting P4, which is pretty good for him. Although his season's pretty much donezo in that he's not in contention for the championship at all anymore. Neither really is Sam Bird, who's in P6. Mass is starting P12. Van Dorn is P15. And Lucas de Grassi, who is P2 in the championship, is starting P19, which is looking rough for him. So, yeah, the race starts, and there is immediately a wreck that blocks the entire track at the first turn. It's a huge pileup, red flag. Max Gunther runs into the back of Verline. Later, they assign blame for this on Jerome D'Ambrosio for running into the back of somebody who ran into the back of somebody who ran into the back of Gunther, who ran into Verline. and Verline's the one that ended up blocking the road as he like spun around and got like wedged between these walls. And that was fucked up. And like most of the field is caught up in this, except for some of the people at the back who are able to take a little escape road and go around this. The red flags don't actually come out immediately. So the cars get past this and kind of keep racing.
Wait, so
And-
the cars who took the escape road keep racing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, so they went from the back to like P1.
Yep.
The first 3 cars made it through fine. So P1, P2, P3 are unchanged, and then like 4 through 12 got fucked, and then everybody else made it through.
That's incredible.
So they start racing, and then red flag comes out, and everybody returns to the grid, and also, I want to say Robin Friends, he got hit separately in a separate incident on the other side. So there's like 2 big accidents that blocked the whole goddamn road. Like he like spun around and had his drive shaft snap.
You got to be thinking about drive shafts.
Always, especially in Formula E.
Always thinking about drive shafts. So the race director comes over everyone's headsets and says, "We're going to restart the race in grid order."
Ooh.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And so Lucas Degrassi, who took that escape road and is now in P8, is extremely
He's
pissed
used
off.
up a lot of his battery power too. If he did more racing,
It was like a lap.
that's still some. That's a percentage, right?
Yes. But what they do is they send out Verline and Gunther ahead of everybody else, have them do an extra lap to everybody else, because everyone else drove around. Those 2 got their cars like recovered and brought to the pits. And they just like replaced their front wings and are back in the race. So they go out, run their extra laps, and everyone should have used about the same amount of energy, driven the same
Unless they
distance. at
sandbagged
least.
the lap.
Yeah.
Well, the other
Friends
cars
is out,
weren't.
as I said, drive shaft.
The other cars weren't racing when they were headed back either. So
Fucking goddamn circus motorsport.
So the race is now red flag, so the drivers are out of their cars, and you get a lot of anyone that was in a better position before they announced they were restarting a grid order. Those people are all pissed and yelling at like track officials. Like Lucas Degrassi is like yelling at some guy like, "Oh, this is bullshit. What the fuck? I was in P8. We raced. The red flag didn't come out till after we crossed this line. He's saying all this shit." Felipe Massa also is pretty pissed because he made out pretty well. But it doesn't matter. Nothing changes. Restart grid order. So they restart under the safety car, and this time gets away clean. Evans in P2 is pretty immediately attacking Jean-Eric Verne for P1, but just can't get past. Like basically the entire rest of this race, Evans is attacking Jean-Eric Verne, trying to get past him, and can never get it done, and it sucks. As I mentioned earlier, D'Ambrosio gets blamed for the incident and gets a drive-through penalty, which destroys his race because this pit lane very long. With 27 minutes left in the race, Verline has some issue, it slows up massively, and comes to a stop on the track, full course yellow. This ends after like 5 minutes. They clear his car out of there. Degrassi has made his way up to P12 now due to a couple retirements and just being faster than most of the other people around him. So not in the points yet, but almost. Meanwhile, Sam Bird is fighting Andre Lauderer, and eventually Lauderer is attacking Sam Bird, I should clarify, and with 4 minutes left in the race, Lauderer gets past him. Like those two are fighting for laps and laps. This is like a race where like not a lot of like bullet point things happened, but it was just like, oh yeah, watch for several laps as you just get these two cars fighting. Like, and it was a surprisingly good race. That was more than just the clusterfuck at the beginning. With 3 minutes left, Degrassi finally gets up to P10, so there's a point for him at least. And then with 2 minutes left, light rain on some parts of the track. And then the rain starts coming down heavier. But they only have the one type of tire, and it can do wet weather. They just have to be a bit careful. At this point, the top four are running super tight together, but nobody can make a pass. Like, it looked like any four of these dudes could end up winning this race because they were nose to tail. But yeah, nobody gets past. So it finishes Jean-Eric Verne, Evans, Buemi, Lutterer, Bird, and Degrassi P10. Bird nearly loses it after the last turn in the rain, but is able to barely keep it together and cross the line to keep his spot. But yeah, Jean-Eric Verne is now pulls quite a bit ahead in the Drivers' Championship. So you've got Jean-Eric Verne with 130, Andre Lutterer with 98, Lucas Degrassi 97, and then Mitch Evans with 87.
Would you say
points.
Jean-Eric Verne has it wrapped up leading into New York?
Sort of. I want to say there's 58 points to play for. And with wrecks known to happen as they do, there's the potential for him to not finish. And like, if he doesn't finish either race and like his teammate wins both of them, then Andre Lutterer would win the championship. So it's very likely that Jean-Eric Verne will be champion again this year, but
not guaranteed.
It's not for sure just yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Similarly, with their two drivers being P1 and P2, Techeetah is leading the Constructors' Championship with 228. Then it's Audi with 170, Virgin with 148, and Nissan 139. So
Nissan.
A bit to play for still in the Constructors' Championship.
Didn't the Edam's team do well previously?
Yes. When they were Renault, they won the Constructors' Championship the first 3 years.
Fucking up.
And is this year 4 or is this year 5?
I think this is
season 5, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so I want to say Renault won the first 3 years. I think Techeetah won last year.
They're going to win this year, too.
And then they're going to win this year as well.
Bold prediction.
And yeah. And then the drivers that have won have been Buemi won twice, Lucas Degrassi won, and Jean-Eric Verne won last year. So, looking like Jean-Eric Verne's going to notch his total
You
up to 2.
excited for this weekend?
Very. I'm also curious to see there's a support race as well that is just like electric hot hatches, I think.
Is it like down in Manhattan or like where is it at in New York?
It is in Red Hook, which is like northwest Brooklyn, in like kind of like a shipping yard
Okay,
kind of
so
area.
it's like not too far from you then, right?
It's decently far, but there's a shuttle running from a subway stop to the track, so it won't be that bad.
That's
to
pretty
get
neat.
there. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, that's it for Formula E. But that wasn't the only race that I watched since last we spoke. There was also round 4 of the Super GT Championship from the Chang International Circuit in Thailand.
That doesn't have a prefecture.
It sure doesn't.
It sure
Does it
does
have a
not.
state? Or like a province?
I don't
It
know.
does.
I knew I
and
was gonna
something about its address is like moo.
I'm not going to go down that road.
Sorry.
I want to say it's in like the town of Urium
What was the
or
name
something.
of the track, Devin?
Chang International Circuit. Yeah, its address is 444 Mu 15 Buriam Buri Ram.
Damn, Thailand addresses are weird.
I told you moo was in it.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Well, I don't speak Thai, so.
I don't either.
But yeah, it's in Buriam, Thailand. It's another Herman Tilke design.
Oh, really? Huh.
Also, probably not going to be on the calendar next year.
Oh,
Because Super GT has a deal in place to have a night race in Singapore
Sick.
next year.
neat.
Well,
And
actually, I don't know how I feel about that. Is it going to be the F1 circuit?
I
If
believe
it's
so.
the Grand Prix,
I
that's
don't.
pretty cool.
I don't know how big chunky street cars are going to do. Street-bodied cars are going to do on that circuit.
I mean, I think they're smaller than F1 cars. F1 cars are so
F1
wide.
cars are pretty big.
Have you seen how big that AMG GT looks next to the F1 cars?
Yeah, I'm gonna Google it right now as Devin.
I mean, it's just like
I'm gonna look at it right now as Devin runs down this race.
All right.
But I don't know, man. They do fine in Suzuka.
Suzuka isn't lined with walls.
Fair enough. But yeah, apparently per FIA rules, a national series can kind of do what they want as long as they have fewer than one international event. So unless the FIA gives them special clearance to have 2 international events, the Thailand race is going to have to get dropped. So we'll see. This race will probably not happen next year. Also, what I just said is according to the commentators, who more than usual seem to not know what the fuck they're talking about this race.
Seems pretty
I
normal.
want to say one of them is the normal commentator, and the other one sounded like 100-year-old British man who didn't know shit about anything. He kept miscalling cars.
Was it?
It was
Was it
this
Dave?
race
Was it
is
Hobb?
real.
Was
yeah, was it David
Hobbs?
Hobbs?
no. He sounded older than
God.
him.
Damn, 1 foot in the grave.
It's like David Hobbs' grandpa.
Damn, bro. Gio.
Yeah, this race, the race was good. The commentary was
Oh, Jeff,
Really
you're wrong. Like, they're just a lot
bad.
lower than a road car, but they're pretty close to the same.
Huh.
F1 cars are big. They used to be small.
F1 cars
Yeah.
are much bigger than they used to be. I will admit that, but I just think about how big that safety car looks next to them. Still,
Yeah. Carry on, Devin.
so qualifying the GT500 class. The Wacos LSX qualified on pole, followed by the Wedsport Lexus. Did I say? I think I misspoke. On pole was the Wacos Lexus. I don't know if I said
I think
something
you said
different.
Waco Sport.
P1 Wacos Lexus, P2 Wedsport Lexus, P3 Craft Sports GTR, which is the white GTR that you don't normally see doing well.
Is that
So it's
Jan's
weird
car?
to see, but no. Unfortunately not. Jan's is blue, but not the blue car. So I don't know. Maybe the Craft Sports GTR qualified as well as it did because it doesn't have much success ballast. It's hard to say. P4 is the AU Toms Lexus. This car has Kaz Nakajima and Yuhi Sakaguchi in it. Yuhi Sakaguchi, a couple races ago in Super Formula, had that really dominant drive. Kaz Nakajima, of course, 2 times Le Mans winner. P5 is the Keeper Toms of Nick Cassidy and Ryo Hirakawa. And then P6 is Jan Mardenborough. And I think the first time I've seen him qualify well this year.
Good.
And that was nice to see.
nice.
Because in general, the GTR is not looking good this year. Or the NSXs for
I
that
think
matter.
Nissan's just fucking up in motorsport.
Well, the NSX isn't a Nissan,
No, the GTR.
right?
Yeah, this year has been, the Lexuses have seemed pretty dominant.
Is it Lexuses or Lexi?
The commentators kept saying Lexi, so I'm going to say Lexuses. The good commentators last year would ponder that every time they spoke it. Those were better times. Those were better commentators.
Were they? They also didn't
Yeah,
know
those
what they were
dudes are
talking
great.
about.
Yeah, but at least they would not misname cars. Like, at the very beginning of this race, a GTR gets past a Toyota GT86, and they're like, oh, geez, the Aston Martin's in P1 now. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It didn't move. It didn't
Lexus
move.
says the plural of Lexus is Lexus.
I don't
Does
believe
it?
it.
Is it like moose?
One Lexus, many Lexus.
Yes.
One moose, many moose?
Yes, mooses.
No.
Moosei. I'm sorry, carry on.
Jenson Button and his Rayburg NSX starts P7. Jenson actually not starting. He is the second driver today. And the red car starts P10. Over in GT300, the Hoppy 86 is on pole. Very excited to see them continuing to look good this year. As I've mentioned before, they've been having financial problems, so that's nice. Hoppy, I looked into it today, is a weird, barely alcoholic beverage that tastes like beer. It has like 0.8% alcohol content, and you're supposed to like mix it in a like 1-to-4 ratio of hoppy to sochu to get a beverage that is
Drinkable?
regular alcohol content. I don't understand it. Anyway, they're on pole. P2 is the Realize Nissan GT-R. P3 is the D-Station Aston Martin Vantage. P5, the Arta NSX. P8, Hatsune
Miku!
I wish she was having a better season. It's been a lot of like points finishes for her, but like not.
Sometimes
I
you
don't
win,
think
sometimes you
Miku
lose,
wins.
man.
Yeah, I want Miku to win the championship again.
Well, you're probably not going to get what you want.
Well, she's done it 3 times.
But not this time.
Probably not this time. Anyway, over in GT300, the second place GTR gets a really good start, as I already mentioned, and takes the lead of the race from the Hoppy 86. Meanwhile, the Craft Sports GTR over in GT500 has a bad start and immediately falls to P6. Yan gets past both him and the Keeper Tom's Lexus and is up into P4. So, there you go, Jeff.
Yay.
Yan up into almost on the podium.
Yay!
He had tiny geckos
For
in
the-
his hotel room while he was there. They weren't supposed to be there.
Oh, okay. That's the beauty of Thailand. Meanwhile, something happened to the Ray Brigg NSX, Jensen Button's car, and it falls all the way to P14 out of 15 cars in GT500. No idea what happened to him. Not good. Because, like, yeah, I don't know how he could have got such a bad start. Because I was thinking, it's like, oh, yeah, well, Jensen wasn't in the car. It was his teammate. But Jensen's teammate is Naoki Yamamoto, who I might say is maybe a better driver than Jensen. So he shouldn't be getting such a bad start. Anyway, they're fucked immediately. Lap 4, the GT300 Realized GTR that took the lead on the opening lap is running away from the Hoppy 86 behind. Like, he pretty quickly has like a 10-second gap, which is unheard of in this series, really. Like, it was really weird. I don't know what the deal was. Again, there's some success ballast to deal with, and I don't have written down what every car's ballast was going into this race, so impossible to know for sure. But also, like, maybe the Hoppy 86, like, fueled up heavily. Like, there's all sorts of weird considerations since there's refueling to consider here as well. But anyway, Hoppy 86 falling back. Lap 6, Kaz Nakajima gets past the Wedsport Lexus as they're going through the GT300 traffic and is up to P2 and is fighting the Wacos Lexus for the lead now. And they're pretty much going to have this fight for like the next 30 laps. Very similar to the Formula E race. It's like, oh yeah, not a lot to like note on this battle, but it's just like note that there's a battle for the lead of this race happening, like where the cars are staying within a second of each other for like 30 laps. As I already said, bit of a rough start for the Keeper Toms. Lost a few spots. Like the Keeper Toms falls all the way back to like P9 or P10 at the start of this race. Also, I don't know. Several cars had bad starts. I don't know that you wouldn't expect. So I don't know why that was. But by lap 9, the Keeper Toms is back up to P6. So that's nice. By lap 14, the Keeper Toms is all over the Craft Sports GTR for P5. And finally gets past him and takes P5 on lap 21. I was confused by my notes because I'd scratched something out, but now I see that they did, in fact, get past on lap 21 of 66. I can't remember if I said 66 laps for this race. Meanwhile, on lap 19, after several laps of fighting, D-Station Vantage gets past the Hoppy 86 for P2 over in the GT300 class. And the Hoppy really starts falling off here, and that the Gainer AAA GTR gets past them as well.
Hang on. Is that AAA like the insurance company?
I don't think so. It is the word triple written out.
I think that's the American Auto Association or something like that. So
that's why I was confused, but okay, that makes more sense. If the word triple is written out, it is not the same company. Please continue.
Yeah, and I had to add back into my notes the AAA here, because immediately after the Gainer AAA GTR gets past them, the Gainer GTR gets past them as well. Apparently Gainer has 2 GT300 GTRs. Yeah, and meanwhile, the Realize GTR is 10 seconds up the road from all of this happening, and the Hoppy falls all the way to P6 in the next couple of laps, which is sad to see. Lap 22, Leon Mercedes in the GT300 class is the first car to pit of the race, so pit window starting to open here. Lap 23, the Keeper Toms is all over Yan, who's all over the Wedsport Lexus for P3, so you get all 3 of those cars fighting, and the Wedsport Lexus and Yan both pit. Keeper Toms keeps going, pits the next lap, and comes out behind the Wedsport Lexus, but ahead of Yan's GTR. And also this lap, the AU Toms of Kaz Nakajima passes the Wacos Lexus for the lead, and then immediately both of them pit, and the AU Toms comes out back behind the Wacos. So after 30 laps of fighting for the lead, he makes it past him, pits, and then loses it. And it's like, oh boy. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Only one stop for everybody this race, and yeah, everybody swapped drivers. Lap 32, Cassidy makes it past the Wedsport. So after all the stops now, you've got the Wacos Lexus in first, followed by the AU Toms Lexus, the Denso Lexus, the Keeper Toms Lexus, and then the Keihin NSX and the Wedsport Lexus. The Denso and the Keihin NSX must have just had some real good strategy that got him up here, because you might have noticed I haven't mentioned either of those names so far this race. But it doesn't really last. I think those 2 cars must have just pitted too early, and they kind of end up falling off. By lap 36, Cassidy's passed the Denso Lexus for P3, and the AU Toms is having to fight the Wacos again for the lead, having lost that spot in the pits. Lap 38, the Motul NSX makes contact with the back of Jenson Button's car after Jenson had just gotten into the car. He'd been in the car for like a lap, maybe 2. And then also hits the Arta NSX, and all 3 of these cars go off and are out of this race.
Great.
So in one incident, 3 of, I want to say 4 or 5. I think there's only 4 or 5 total Hondas, but 3 of them were gone.
I would be so pissed off if I spent all practice sessions, qualifying, all that shit, finally get my time in the seat, and somebody just smashes into me. I would be
Yep.
upset.
And yeah, this brings out a safety car. Worth noting, at this point in time, Hatsune Miku, P1 in the race, because they've not
Nice.
pitted yet.
Nice. It won't last.
But safety car, pit lanes closed.
Oh no!
Yeah, which
Wait, does
means
that always
that
happen?
Miku. I think that always happens, but I can't ever remember.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So basically, this means that Hatsune Miku's
Yep.
fucked because the whatever gap they've built now is gone, and they have to
Yep.
pit.
And yep.
So
Fuck.
lap 42, safety car's in. Caspi immediately gets past the AU Toms, kind of runs it wide. One of the commentators were like, "Oh boy, he shoved him off the road." It was like not a clean pass per se, but it was definitely like
Was
racing incident.
it comparable to Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen?
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
say so.
Not clean, but not.
They didn't make contact even. Like
Dirty pass.
yeah. I don't know. It was. I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. The AU Toms hit some like bumpy, like I think they had those like sausage curbs outside as well. He like bumps over several of those, and that looks real rough. And the AU Toms loses several spots here. Meanwhile, Miku comes in the pits and comes out P14, 30 seconds behind the car that's in P13. So points not looking good for Miku. With 6 laps to go, the D-Station Vantage gets a puncture, and their race is destroyed. I want to say that car was in like P4 or P5, maybe even P3. I don't remember for sure. They were on for a good points finish. I think probably the best finish that car's had this year. And yeah, then it gets destroyed by just a puncture. I don't know what they could have hit, but
Anything.
last lap of the race, the Gainer AAA GTR has been dogging the Realize GTR in the GT300 class for several laps now, and the last lap of the race gets past the Realize GTR for the lead of the race and wins it. It's like, oh, that like on the one point, I don't really care about either of these teams, but I think the Realize GTR is like the engineers on that team are like students at a local technical college. Or something. I don't know. Again, the commentators were saying something to that effect, but those guys don't know shit. So I don't know. So I was kind of bummed for them. But at the end of the day, I don't care about either of those two cars. So Keeper Tom's fighting the Wacos for most of the rest of this race after he got past the AU Toms, trying to win the race, but eventually like kind of slowed back. I think decided to just like cruise in P2 instead of trying to fight for P1. So the Wacos Lexus finishes P1, Keeper Tom's P2, Wed Sport Lexus P3, Yan finishes P4, and the AU Toms finishes all the way down in P9. Which really sucks for Nakajima and Sakaguchi. Meanwhile, over in the GT300 class, the Gainer AAA GTR is P1, then the Realize GTR, Leon Mercedes, Hoppy 86 manages to get all the way back up to 4th, so pretty good result for them after they fell quite a bit in that first stint. And then Miku finishes P13. Yep.
Rough.
Yeah. The only spot they made up after the safety car was the Aston Martin getting its puncture.
That sucks.
Yep. Yeah, boy, if they just stopped like one lap before that incident, Miku could have been on for a really good finish. Because Hatsune Miku, generally, their strategy seems to be to put their number one driver in the car second. I don't know if that's everyone's strategy. Like, because thinking about it, it's like, I guess I don't know if Yan's the number one or not. Most of these cars, I guess I don't know who the number one and number two drivers are. But Miku, I do. I don't know. Now I'm just muttering to myself. Championship. Keeper Tom's now winning the GT500 championship with 46 points. 1 point ahead of the Wacos LSX with 45 points. Then the Tsurumo Lexus with 42.5, and then the AU Toms Lexus with 32.
Yeah, big old LSX over there in second place.
Dance. I think that's what I did at the start of talking about this race also that really threw me.
You almost did it.
I don't know why I want to say
a little bit before, but you caught yourself. It's funny. I could totally see how Lexus gets turned into LSX. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. Also, GT300 Championship, the Arta NSX is winning with 41.5 points. The K-Tunes Lexus is in P2 with 40. Realized GTR, P3 with 38 points. And Miku's all the way down in P8 with 26.5. The Arta NSX and the K-Tunes Lexus were basically non-factors in this race. I didn't have a single note on either of them. Kind of surprised those two cars are still in the top two here, but they did well enough the last three races. But yeah, success ballast slowed him down. So yeah, that was Super GT. Oh, also the podium ceremony, completely rote. Nothing.
No special prize.
Nothing happened.
Fuck Thailand.
Good job, Thailand.
It was boring. Yeah, it was a real bummer. I was like, oh boy. Got to see Lexus's mascot Bear for a little bit hanging out.
No special house.
No house, no golf clubs, no piece of wood, no barrel of rice.
Corncob purse.
Exactly.
Man, Thailand's fucking up.
Big time.
Yep. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. And I want to say that I think there's a Super Formula race on this weekend as well. There is. So in addition to Formula One and Formula E this weekend, we also have Super Formula.
Sounds like we've got a busy...
Lots of Formula.
Yeah. Lots of open wheel racing.
Fuji's great because you can see that mountain, and you see it and you say, "Hey, that's
that
Fuji."
mountain."
It's snowing on Mount Fuji.
Yeah, that's that mountain.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I need to make more time for motorsports. My life's too busy.
Fuji's in the Shizuoka Prefecture.
Neat.
What else is in Fuji?
Godzilla. He lives there.
Mostly
A
the
camera
mountain.
company. Maybe?
Oh, Fuji.
Yeah.
I thought you said Camber Company, and I was lost.
A camera.
Camera.
Yeah.
Chimera Company.
Whoa, that's a whole
maybe
different
not
thing.
that. I don't know. Japan be crazy.
They do.
Japan do be crazy sometimes.
Take lots of pictures next week at Formula E.
Say hi.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
Say hi to
and
Stoffel.
meet Pascal Wehrlein. I forgot Stoffel Van Dorn. I wasn't even gonna say his name
Oh,
Whoa.
because I forgot he
I don't think I
existed.
can mail
guy,
you a
man.
Stoffel Van Dorn hat in time for you to get it by this weekend.
Oh no way. But yeah, I'm gonna try and meet Wehrlein or Sam Bird or
Give
both.
Sam Bird the Sam Bird.
I'm not gonna flip Sam Bird the bird. That poor man's been having such a bad season. I hope he can do better next year because the dude's really good. Yeah, so that's motorsports.
Motorsports.
They're very good. Sounds like we have a busy next week's episode.
Sure do.
Indeed.
So yeah. All right. Well, I'd call that a show.
I would call that a show as well.
That's a show.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Just a general rule of thumb: if this happens, don't stop recording.
Can do.
Don't stop
Yeah.
recording.
Exactly that.
There's a bumper for you.
Yeah. There's my bumper mid podcast.